works. Hello, Facebook. I'm sorry about that. My phone was having a moment and it was making me go upside down or sort of side to side. And I thought, well, that's no good. So I apologise that I'm in this format. We will get it sorted. I have actually ordered a new kind of filming gadget, which I hope is going to make things very much easier and much more straightforward, especially for a non-techie like me. So very warm welcome if you're watching me on YouTube as well and Facebook. Lovely to have your company. I was just saying to our friends here on Instagram, I'm back on my farm and it is a wet, grey, blustery Friday down here in the West Country. You can probably see behind me, it's all a bit grey. But we've got warm, positive vibes here, okay? So good vibes only. It's all going to be fine. And it'll be fine in the end. And if it isn't fine, then it isn't the end. That's what they say, isn't it? And I'm going to share something that I've just taken out of the oven because I just thought this would be really delicious. Okay, so this is what I've been baking. The kitchen smells amazing. And this is a nutty tray bake that comes from my yearbook too. So it's called Ginger Nutty Slices. Okay, so if you have got my yearbook, it's on page 250. It's actually from the winter section. I think it's a really good kind of autumny warming recipe, but it contains lots of really good things like hazelnuts and almonds. We've got fresh ginger as well as ground ginger, dates for a little bit of sweetness, oats, so it's really good for kind of slow release carbs that just keep you going. And honestly, it is an absolute family favourite of mine. So I thought what I'd do is I'd just mention this because I thought I might cook it, actually bake it, maybe next Friday. So if you've got your book, and you'd want to kind of join along, then we can kind of have tea and cake together. How about that? So that is, yeah, it's on page 250 if you've got it. So I'm going to cut that in just a moment to enjoy it. But it also just reminds me to say that we are having a very quick flash sale just to kind of celebrate, I don't know, being here, just because. So it's on all my hardback books that are on lizearlewellbeing.com. So that is Yearbook 2, Skin, which is my skin book, obviously, duh. My Good Gut Guide, which is all about gut health, and also the Good Menopause Guide. So those 4 books. So they are all going to be signed by me. I've got them all here at the farm, so I'm going to sign them all. And I'm also sending them out with free P&P and a free copy of last autumn's magazine. So if you don't have this, this is the autumn magazine from 2019. And it is just jam-packed with really, really good seasonal recipes. It's got all sorts of good features in there. It's got good hormone health features. It's got features about resilience and mental health. And it's a really good issue. It's a really cracking issue. And I saw that we had some spare copies, so I thought, you know what, let's just create a really lovely bundle. Let's just do it. We'll run this offer till the end of Sunday. Hop on the website if you want to take a look at lizearlewellbeing.com. You're going to save about £10. Get your signed copy so you can stock up on as many different titles as you like. Each one will come with a separate magazine. If you've already got your magazine, well, you can never have too many magazines, can't you? So you can pass it to a friend. Obviously, you can share the love. But I just thought, hey, let's just do that. So anyhow, so that is going to be next week, Ginger Nutty Slices. If you've got your book already and can't wait, you might want to make them in advance. I actually have been sitting here with just such restraint, because I have to say, ooh, top's going a bit low, that it smells amazing since coming out of the oven. So I thought I might actually cut a slice now, if you will indulge me. I don't know whether you can see. A little bit actually goes a long way because it's really nutritious, and it's just, it's a really nice crunchy thing. So I'm going to pop that into there. Excuse me, I'm going to have just a little mouthful. Yum, yum, yum. Really good. And of course you can adapt it. You know, you can throw in different things. So if you don't like certain ingredients, you know, you have a preference on your nuts or not using nuts or whatever, then of course you can move it around a bit. Now that was a really dangerous, silly thing to do, wasn't it? Because now I've got a taste for it. Now I want to carry on eating it. Oh, anyhow. There we go. I shall put that to one side and resist. I'm not looking at it. Can't see it. It's not there. I'll tell you what I have got here as well, and that's my new ground coffee. Lots of you have said how delicious the new ground coffee is, so I just wanted to mention these guys again. because they're a really brilliant social impact company. And, you know, if you're buying real coffee, let's get it from somewhere really good, really decent, that works with other people. So they have really good blends. This particular one I like, it's called Shikiso. I hope I pronounced that right. It's got a purple label. And it comes, it's got different mixes of Ethiopian coffee. Now, if you talk to any coffee connoisseur, they will always say, oh, best coffee comes from Ethiopia, or they're quite likely to. There might be a bit of an argument going on with South America, but anyway, Ethiopians definitely are big time into their coffee, and I spent the most amazing few weeks a couple of years ago in Ethiopia, because I'm an ambassador. One of the charities that I'm an ambassador for is Tear Fund, and they do a lot of work in really disadvantaged rural communities right across the globe. And one of the places where they do extraordinary work is Ethiopia. And I was there particularly to investigate the money-saving startups, really, by women. And it was just the most extraordinary thing. They've got these little village schemes, savings and loan schemes. And it's incredibly humbling because these women are often saving the equivalent of 1p or 2p a week. And it all goes into a little account, into a little ledger, and they organise themselves into groups, and Tear Fund kind of help them to structure these little schemes. And they provide lots of local support, and when they've got enough money saved together, and there's, you know, often these women are the poorest of the poor. I mean, really, you know, I mean, poverty like we've never seen in this country, literally living in dirt shacks, perhaps sleeping on a plastic sack if they're lucky to protect themselves from the wet. I mean, it's really an extraordinary experience to go over there and see the real need. But anyway, there is good news. You know, it's not all doom and gloom, because when they've got enough of their pennies gathered together, they then make a loan to one of the women in the group, and she might, for example, buy a chicken, and she might then sell the eggs and get money from the eggs, which means that she can then buy a cockerel. And then she ends up with more chickens and more chicks. So she pays back her loan, and then she runs a little business, a little shop, a little duka, as they call them, little kind of shack, selling food to the community. And then that money then goes back into the pot. And then the next person might come along. And there was this amazing woman I spoke to, and she had been part of this organisation for about 10 years. And she was incredibly smartly dressed, and, you know, she had some gold jewellery, and she was just really well put together. She lived in a really nice house, and she didn't look as if she had been poverty-stricken at all. And I said, you know, tell me about your story. What, you know, why are you involved in all this? And she said, when I started out 10 years ago, I lived basically on the side of the road. I had literally nothing. I was destitute. And I got to hear about this scheme, and I was really interested, and I went along, and I thought, well, this is great. This is a charity. They're going to give me some money. They're going to give me a handout. And she said, they didn't give me a handout. They asked me for money. They said I had to put in, you know, my penny, literally, of savings. And I thought, well, this is a bit odd. Anyway, she kind of stuck with it. And I said, so, you know, what was the first thing that you did with the money? By the way, I'm going way off piste here. I had no intention of talking about this, but I was just, when I saw the Ethiopian coffee, it just reminded me, and I thought, do you know what, this is a kind of feel-good Friday, and I want to share this good story, so I hope you'll bear with me. And so she said, I bought a sheep. And I said, well, how on earth did you manage to feed a sheep? Because, you know, I've had sheep on my farm, and they eat a lot of grass, and you can't even afford to feed yourself. How are you going to feed a sheep? And she said, I used to tie it on a piece of string and take it to the park and let it eat all the grass in the park. So she had this sheep, and she, I think she might have bought it when it was pregnant, because she then had a younger kid. And then she was able to sell the first sheep and then buy another sheep, and kind of then she bought a goat, and then she was able to milk the goat, and then she sold the goat's milk, and then she bought a horse with the money from that, and she tethered the horse outside her little shack. And then her husband managed to get a job like having a horse and cart. And so they used the horse to pull the cart, and that's how they used to make the deliveries. It was a bit like kind of the Amazon delivery service of Ethiopia. And they would go around town making deliveries, and then, but he had to rest the horse, obviously, every few hours, so he could only do work so much. So then with all this sort of extra money she was getting from her sheep, she then managed to buy another horse. They had two horses, so one worked in the morning, one worked in the afternoon. Anyway, long story short, she then ended up buying a small piece of land and she bought some teff seed. And if you know anything about teff, it's this extraordinary gluten-free grain. And Ethiopia, again, runs on teff. They make this fermented pancake called injera, and which I think actually tastes really disgusting, but they really like it. Anyway, sorry about that. I had to eat a lot of injera when I was over there, and I'm not a fan. Quite tangy, quite sour. And she said, so she bought I think she bought something like 20 kilos of teff seed and planted it. And with that, she was able to harvest huge amounts, you know, like, I don't know what that turned into, like 500 kilos of teff seed. And the interesting thing about teff is that you cut it by hand. So it's hand harvested. You don't need machinery, you don't need tractors, any of that. And then so she sorted through the teff, and it's a bit like sorting the wheat from the chaff, literally. So you sieve all the seed, and then you can sell the seed, and then you have all the chaff left. And then she said, so then I had a bit of money from the sale of the teff, and I then bought a cow or a bull who ate all the leftover chaff. And, you know, and so it went on, and so it went on, and it all started with the saving of like 1 or 2 pence, and just being able, you know, being shown the way and being encouraged and helped. And she's built a medical centre. She put her 3 daughters through university, 2 of whom have come back, and they're now working in the community as community nurses in this medical centre. I mean, it just gives me goosebumps to think about it, to think what you can do with so little. So that's partly why I really try and support brands and companies that support others, because a little bit of difference, you know, working with someone like New Ground Coffee, who buy from a sustainable, often fair trade organisation, that money is going back into that community, and it's changing lives. And just something, you know, as simple as sitting here having a delicious cup of coffee is having a massive impact. New Ground Coffee actually also changed lives in this country, because these are the guys who train ex-offenders and people coming out of prison who really have no hope or chance of employment, which means that their reoffending rates are really high. And if you can get these guys into paid work, then we know that the reoffending rates go down and society as a whole is better. So that is something that they do. So, and we get discount, as if that wasn't enough. So Liz Loves, all in capitals, gets you 20% off your New Ground Coffee, of which I'm about to have another sip. Now, talking about other lovely, lovely initiatives, you may have noticed that in the past I am a fan of a Scottish knitwear, cashmere wrap company, Travelwrap, and in fact they've featured in the magazine. I've been up to, I think you pronounce it Hoik. Please correct me if it's wrong. It's spelt Howick, but I think it's Hoik, up in Scotland. And I took my team up there, this was several years ago, and we did a really great photo shoot, and we looked at some of the most extraordinary knitwear cashmere that was being literally handmade on these looms. I mean, it's just amazing. And I saw lots of serious designer names coming out of that place. I mean, there's one which I shan't name, but it like has a double C logo, based in Paris. And there was, I mean, a lot of top designers. And it was just really joyful to see actually so much local employment going on up there, making something really good that stands the test of time and lasts. So anyway, so Travelwrap is absolutely one of my firm favourites. You know, I talk about things that Liz loves, and they are one of those things. And in fact, this, I just wanted to share with you, this was one of their latest designs. And I bought this for my niece for her 30th birthday recently. And she is a photographer, and she is, you know, quite young, obviously being 30, really stylish, and I just like the kind of the graphicness of it. It's a bit like a Mondrian. And I had her initials monogrammed, because certainly if you live in this house, things tend to get walkabout. So, yeah, I had her initials put on it. And that was just as a really special, you know, like kind of landmark present. And she basically has worn it every single day. I had to prise it off her this morning, saying, oh, and I want to share this, I want to show people. Anyway, the good news is that Travelwrap have given us a discount. So just in time, perhaps with some Christmas shopping in mind, 10% discount if you use Liz Loves. And we've also got a competition to win a monogrammed one. So I'm not entirely sure what you have to do to win the competition. Be a good idea to check my research, wouldn't it? Honestly, I've had a mad morning. I've been on legal calls and all sorts of stuff and trying to fight press inaccuracies on HRT, more of which in a moment. So my morning has already been quite full. Okay, so yes, head to Earle Wellbeing and you will find details of the Travelwrap competition. I think it's just a question of entering it, frankly, and you might win it, and you're going to win one that you can monogram. And I just wanted to share with you, because this is one I hope that Lily isn't watching. I don't think she is, because she is away at the moment. So I think it's going to be safe to share it with you, because this is going to be for her. It comes beautifully wrapped. I've actually unwrapped it just to check it before opening. So yeah, it tells you all about the travel wrap, and in here, this is one of their newer designs, which I really, really like. It says here, the Travelwrap company is all about scrumptiously soft Scottish cashmere, traditional craftsmanship, beautiful designs, and making life just more luxuriously comfortable. And I have to say, I do genuinely love them. You know, when I get asked if I'd like a special birthday present or a special Christmas present, I do often say, do you know, I love a travel wrap. And I've got them in several different colours, and they really last. They are an investment piece. They just last. So it comes with their own little bag, actually, to keep it in. And it's a beautiful box. And this is the one for Lily, but don't tell her, okay, because it's a surprise. It'll probably be kept till Christmas. But look at that beautiful colour. And the great thing, of course, about having a daughter with the same initials as you, haha, I'm sneaky, I don't know if you can see that, it's probably come out backwards, L-E. So, you know, could just keep it, maybe. But isn't that lovely? And I just thought these colours actually are just so beautiful for the autumn. And it's just thick and cosy, and it's kind of just what you want to cuddle up in. Really, really gorgeous. Really, really beautiful indeed. And having seen how they're made, and the ladies up there, I don't know if there's anybody up there in Hoyk who is watching, or maybe watching this on catch up after work. I'm sending you lots of love, and I was just so impressed, and I will always remember. In fact, I think we might have it as an online article. Amy, I don't know if you are able to find that. I think we had them as a Meet the Maker, because often I like to go behind the scenes and see what people, who the people are, you know, literally meeting the maker, seeing what they're doing. Anyway, just sharing that with you, because 10%, it's the most discount that they've ever done, because these things are really expensive and pricey to do. So thank you very much, Travelwrap. Now, just another kind of final quick alert for all of you who are loving Amanda Harrington and her face sculpting, body and face fake tans and tinting. Today is the last day, okay? She has given us a massive 25% discount for my little community here, which is just so exceptional, but it runs out at midnight. If you're watching me in real time, or even on catch up today on Friday, this is the last day. Midnight on Friday, your 25% runs out. So it's Liz Loves, all in capitals. And I did actually save this for a live demo. I probably look a bit pale at the moment. That's because I haven't got any face makeup on. I've just put some eyes on and a bit of lippy. So I thought I would just top up my glow, really, because I've just been finding that using this, I am using the Illuminating Bronzing Mist, and my colour is Natural Honey, which is kind of the middle one. She's got 3 shades. She doesn't like calling them light, medium and dark. She just sort of does 3 different shades. And what I like about it is it's not just a self-tan, it's actually got skincare ingredients in it. So this has collagen and coenzyme Q10, and it's light reflecting, so it does really give you a glow. So should we give it a go? So you get this little brush, which is a really good shaped brush. You know, a friend of mine said, you know, oh, I'm thinking about getting that. You know, do I really need to get the brush as well? You know, could I use a blusher brush? And I said, well, obviously you could. Absolutely you could. However, this is just such a perfect shape and texture, just the way she's sort of angled it, because she's an artist. Do you remember? She's a fine artist who does life drawing. So she knows all about the face, and she works with the A-lister movie stars, doing all their body painting and all of that. You know, she was doing Tomb Raider, and which I imagine is Angelina Jolie. I mean, she's not allowed to say, but, you know, if you're doing the main leads for something like that. And then she was working on Bond films, so that kind of Ripley six-pack. Who knows how much of that was real and how much of that was kind of contoured. Again, she's not allowed to say, she'll just leave us guessing. So yeah, I think if you really fancy the whole thing, then if you can, go for the brush, but if not, just use a blusher brush. And then her tip to me was just to apply it just to the little top there. So I'm going to give you a little spritz. I'm always a bit nervous about doing this live because I don't have a mirror, I'm just doing it in front of the... And then it was dab, dab, sweep. And she was saying, go quite high. You know, she was saying, your cheekbone here is in line with the top of your ear, okay? So quite high, and then just blend it in really well, and go up here as well. Bring your eye line and just bring everything up visually. So I hope it's all right. Huh. You'll have to tell me whether I'm making myself look too clownish or just looking glowily sculpted, which is the idea, hopefully. And then, of course, popping it under the chin. And this is a little trick that I do, actually, with bronzer, because I am aware that I'm a bit jowly. And so just putting a little bit of bronzing, just anything, really, just like a darker, slightly browny shade under here, just gives you the illusion. Don't overdo it, obviously, otherwise you look a bit stripy. But certainly, you know, if you're having your picture taken, or maybe you're sitting in front of a screen, you know, having an online conversation with somebody, just kind of gives you that little tiny bit of sharpness. There we go. Lovely chats going on. It's really lovely to see all your comments coming in here. Oh, I got all sorts of strange messages there. I think I've just done an update on my phone and it's kind of giving me all sorts of weird things. So anyway, there we go. So last day, it's on all her products on the website. She's got loads of really interesting things, including all the body mousses and the glycolic facial pads, which I've been trying, which I think also are really good. I've got quite sensitive skin, quite dry sensitive skin, so I'm just using those maybe once or twice a week, but really good for helping to brighten the glow. The discount is not available on sets because they're already discounted, but if you want to try the individual products, then 25% is really generous. So thank you very much indeed to Amanda Harrington, and the last day of that. Now I've got some questions that have come in, so I will read those. Question here, yeah, these are my eucalyptus earrings, and actually that reminds me, there is 25% also off these, but only until midnight Saturday. So this was we ran the offer for October. So the eucalyptus range, one of my favourites, we sold out of the necklace, but we do still have the little bracelet, which I've got on here, which I love, really delicate, you can see that. And the earrings, which you either wear like this, I like to wear them like that, so they're pointing down to sort of help elongate that kind of jawline, or you can twist them up the other way and have them as climbers. By the way, if your little studs are a bit loose at the back, then just pinch it together, pinch the little butterfly clip together, and that tightens it. But if you're buying them now, we're actually sending them out with extra, excuse me, extra little backs for them. So if you need extra backs, just drop us a line. If you need an extra pair of backs for them, because sometimes they can be a little bit loose. So anyhow, and I don't have my rings on. Oh, I must have taken them off to wash my hands, but I normally wear a double eucalyptus ring. And in fact, I can probably show you that, just thinking about it, because I was going to share this. We are in the process of printing and mailing out the new copy of Earle Wellbeing magazine. And I have, this is the cover, this is the proof. This is what I get basically a couple of weeks before it gets printed, just to check the kind of colour balance. You can see all the different colour printing Pantones down here, and we just check it against the original photography to make sure that, you know, nothing needs boosting. You might want to lift, you know, the pink or the yellow or whatever, because we've made it all sparkly. Do you see how it's all kind of glittery and sparkly? And we just talk, you know, there's just so much gloom, isn't there, around, and so much bad news and negativity. Let's just try and be positive and just a little bit joyful, but without being excessive, you know, being mindful that things are hard for a lot of people, but also just focusing on uplifting positive things. Anyway, the reason I mentioned this partly is not only to say look out for it if you're a subscriber, because it'll be winging its way to you any day, but if you see, I'm actually wearing my rings. These are the eucalyptus rings that I was talking about. This is the double ring. So I wear the yellow gold and the rose gold together, the eucalyptus ones. And we do have those. They are literally the last few on 25% discount over at Earle Jewellery. So do take a look, because the whole eucalyptus range is there on sale, but it does end midnight on Saturday. So what I also want to talk about, sorry, it must be a bit of my nutty ginger slice. Excuse me one moment. I can see a couple of questions coming in here. How do the travel wraps wash? Really well. I mean, I've become quite brave with anything wool or cashmere. I actually put it on a cold wool wash in my machine, just with a bit of gentle, Woolite or one of those special wool liquid, washing liquids. And then obviously you don't tumble dry it. You need to dry it really flat and just squeeze it out very gently when it's wet. And to be honest, I find it washes really well. And I've become bolder, I guess, over the years. So how long does the tan last? Well, I think it depends how much you apply, to be honest. What was a really nice thing for me was the first time I tried it, which was only on Monday. And then I washed my face and just kind of carried on, with getting myself ready for bed. And in the morning I woke up and I was brushing my teeth and I looked at myself in the mirror and I thought, oh, you look well. Because, of course, I'd woken up with my cheekbones and everything all, glowing and gorgeously highlighted. So I've been using it. I haven't used it every day because I've been on my lives. And so I thought, well, I don't want to do it too much in case I end up looking a bit overdone by the end of the week. But I am going to use a little spritz here. I am going to get bolder with it, a bit like washing my cashmere. I'm going to get a bit bolder. And I'm going to use it probably 2 or 3 times a week. Just here and under here. And maybe a bit on my collarbones here too. Also maybe a little bit on the backs of my hands just to even out skin colour. So yeah, interesting. So I guess it depends on your own skin type. And also it depends on your skin care. This was a really important point that Amanda made. If you're using retinol, which I use, or if you're using any kind of glycolic acids or fruit acids, AHAs, any of those AHA type toners, then they will obviously remove tan really quickly, self-tan. So it won't last as long as if you're just using, just a cream cleanser. Where is my skirt from? Okay, so this is an old favourite. It's a designer called Ganni. I never know whether you pronounce it Ganni or Janni. And I bought it in a sale a couple of years ago and I just love it. And I'm really loving the top that I've teamed it with. So I just thought that this was a little bit different. If I'm wearing quite an exotic bottom half, I'll just go quite classic on the top. And I love this neckline too. I find this kind of boat-shaped cowl really flattering. So this top is a Borken top. I've talked about them before. It's one of my favourite ethical brands. It's a female founder-led brand, British brand. And they use sustainable fabrics and they put back to the community and they support disadvantaged women and all of those good things. And they give us a 20% discount, so thank you very much. You need to use with Borken, it's Liz Loves 20. Okay, so if you fancy this, and they do have it on their website, I checked. But it's a really lovely, easy to wear, pull on. And I like the 3/4 length sleeves as well. And maybe it's just because I'm busy doing stuff, but I just, I find that things that come down too far, they just get in the way, and I don't know. I've always had a thing about 3/4 length sleeves. It's like things with pockets. If something's got a pocket or a 3/4 length sleeve, then that's usually a winner for me. Oh gosh, yes. The HRT debacle. Those of you who've been looking at my stories will know that there was a study that was incorrectly reported in the Daily Telegraph, of all places, yesterday, showing that the risks for taking HRT for breast cancer were higher than previously thought. And in fact, the researchers who released the study have said that this was completely wrongly interpreted, and their main data showed that the risks are lower. So I spent a lot of time yesterday and also this morning talking to the press office at the university where they were doing the media relations, and I'm actually due to record a podcast with the lead researcher later on tonight, and I will get that released as soon as possible just as a kind of a news flash update. The Daily Mail, actually, God love them, actually got it right. And today they've got a headline to say, HRT, the new studies show that it's been found to lower the overall risk of breast cancer. So anyway, that is an ongoing saga. And as you can imagine, I've been very busy behind the scenes. And I was saying to a lot of the researchers and the medics who I liaise with here, I'm trying to do this and my day job. But I do it because I think it's really important. And it always seems to be with these messages. It seems to be, 2 steps forward, 3 steps back. And I'm not a conspiracy theorist at all, although goodness knows there are enough of them around at the moment, aren't there, about all sorts of things. But I really do feel that this healthcare injustice is a shocker and it needs to change. And I'm really delighted that I've been able to join up with, really high-profile women like Davina McCall and Lorraine Kelly, and the three of us are the lead ambassadors for the Menopause Charity. And if you don't already follow the Menopause Charity, then please do. It's going to be a really important organisation for evidence-based research and information. And, hopefully we won't need the charity in 5 or 10 years' time, because so much will have changed that women won't need the support, because they'll get it automatically from their GPs and their practice nurses and their health visitors, and then wherever you go, just to get your regular health care. So please, let's hope that this is a very short-lived charity and that it achieves its goals and the objectives really quickly, and then we can move on and worry about other things. But this is something that is affecting half the population, and we just need evidence-based, accurate information. And when we see a headline that comes out, and I've already spoken to the lead researcher on this as a kind of just to sound her out, to say, look, would you come onto my podcast and talk about this, because I really want to hear it from you. I said, why is this headline so misleading? How can the journalists have got it so wrong? And she said, well, she just misread the data. You're comparing apples with oranges, so it's not going to be the same. So anyway, I know a lot of work is going on behind the scenes trying to correct it. So watch this space. Meantime, if you are interested in HRT, I do have my little download. It's an e-guide. It's called The Truth About HRT. And there's lots of information there, including how to talk to your GP. We've got updates on the latest estradiol versus estrogel scandal, which is yet another one. Information on the incorrect patient leaflets that the MHRA are still yet not updating. So, it's just ongoing. I could spend my entire life just doing this, but there are lots and lots of other things to be doing. And thank you so much for... Thank you very much. Yes, just to recap some questions here on the offer. So this is an offer for 4 of my books. Okay, so this is a hardback book. So this is yearbook 2. It's also for skin, for the Good Gut Guide and the Good Menopause Guide. You'll find this on the website. It's just on lizearlewellbeing.com. You get a free copy of the 2019 November, I think it is, issue, or maybe it's September, October issue of Earle Wellbeing. So all your seasonal recipes, lots of information on HRT in that particular issue as well. So it's really well worth having or passing on to a friend as a gentle introduction perhaps to it. And you get free P&P and you get your free magazine, so it's worth nearly £10. And that is a little flash sale that we're doing here. And of course I sign all the books. So I've got a busy weekend ahead, signing and wrapping and packing, and that is just until midnight on Sunday. Another question that's come in about what lippy I'm wearing. Okay, so this is giving away all my secrets today. This is Dr. Lip. So this is the lanolin. I've talked about this before, and this particular one is called Sweet Potato Pigment, and that's because they just use vegetable pigments, which is so genius, isn't it? So this is a pinky colour, and the only colour is coming from sweet potatoes. So it's literally good enough to eat. So, really safe. When you think about how much lipstick and lip gloss we're ingesting, if you're a big lip gloss or lippy wearer, you're licking your lips, you're ingesting it. But I guess not so many of us are wearing lipstick, are we, at the moment, wearing masks. It kind of, pushes everything up to doing the eyes instead. But what I like about this is not only does it give you just a little hint of colour, but it is also the lanolin, the purified medical grade lanolin that keeps our lips really soft and chap-free. And I'm using this a lot at the moment because the weather is so cold. And yes, if you put Liz Loves all in capitals on the Dr. Lip website, then you do get your discount on that as well. I will just check. I think I've got that on the list here. So many discounts now that we're offering. Yeah, drlip.com. And my iPad is playing up. Come on. drlip.com. Yeah, that gives you 10% off, or is it 15%? I haven't got my glasses. 15% off. Great. With Liz Loves on Dr. Lip. Ah, dear. If you miss any of the discounts, by the way, please just go onto the website. They're all there. If you just key in Liz Loves as a search, then they'll all come up. We've tried to split them now into categories because we've got so many supplements and clothes and home furnishings and candles and you name it, lots and lots of good things. And one other brand that I just wanted to finish with, really, just because I was just really touched to receive this message. And it's from another female founder-led brand called Life Armour, which I talk about in the past, and I continue to use their drops. I've just had a dose of their balance drops actually at the moment. Loving the balance drops. They're the ones that contain the ashwagandha, which is the adaptogenic herb that just kind of helps you just to stay on an even keel, and I'm really finding them very helpful. I also use the slumber drops. I'm finding that really good as well. Anyway, this month being Breast Cancer Awareness Month, they are donating. If you use your code, your Liz Loves code, they then donate to a breast cancer research charity. And I talked about this last Friday and mentioned that their co-founder, very sadly died of breast cancer just as the company was being set up. And so I talked about this a little bit. And anyway, I just got an email that just popped in from Mariska, who is her co-founder, who now runs the company. And she says here, and I hope you don't mind, Mariska, if I share this with everybody, because I'm sure everybody would love to hear, especially if you've bought anything from Life Armour and you've been part of that donation process. You say, I just wanted to send a personal thanks for the shout out regarding the cancer support last Friday in particular. We've shared that clip with Alex's family and friends, who found it the loveliest tribute to her. Today marks a year since we lost her, and I know she would be blown away by the Liz Earle, knowing who she was. With heartfelt thanks, Mariska. Oh, that is really choked me up a bit, and I think it just really, again, just emphasises the importance of putting back and, you know, highlighting brands that are doing well, supporting others, particularly in the space of female healthcare. And I think that's overall what I try and do, particularly for midlife women, because life is flipping tough, isn't it? We've got so much going on, often sandwiched in the middle between looking after our kids maybe at one level and looking after older parents at the other level, and then, you know, everybody else around us, and just trying to juggle so much. So what I try and do here, and my whole team at Earle Wellbeing, what we try and do is fill the magazine particularly with really good reads, so you can switch off your screens and just, you know, sit down. This is the current one, just with something just to take us away from stuff and actually learn really good things and helpful things. And often, you know, it's the smallest things that make the biggest difference. It might be just a few mouthfuls of kefir in the morning, actually. It might be taking a few saffrosun, the crocus extract capsules. It might be realising that you're histamine intolerant, or it might be realising that you need to top up your estrogen, or ways to help us sleep better, or ways to help maybe lift a few more weights to build a bit more muscle mass to improve our metabolism. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. Of course, all surrounded by the good things, including lovely things to wear and, plenty of cake as well. So I hope that you will grab hold of the recipe so that we can make this together this time next week. Today being Friday, just before I go, quick reminder, it's a big day here at Earle Wellbeing, always on a Friday. We've got the Friday 5 podcast. Don't miss this. Oh my goodness, don't miss the Friday 5. If you know anything about Sian Jones, who founded the Chuckling Goat kefir range, she's fabulous. We had such a fun chat, and it's so interesting. Anyway, I mean, she will banish your winter blues. Just take a listen when that goes live. We've also got our newsletter that comes out free of charge, so that will be in your inbox around 4 o'clock this afternoon, packed full of good stuff. I just signed it off just before going live today. You've still got time. If you're not a subscriber, be quick, and Amy will make sure that you get your copy. Lots of good things in there that we're sharing for the weekend. And yeah, just lots of good stuff on the website as well. There's a really nice recipe for a pumpkin loaf with a really nice frosted icing. I told you it was all about cake ultimately. Anyway, I hope you enjoy making that. If you make any of my recipes, do please tag me. I'd love to share you on social media. That is it for today. Look forward to being back with you live on Monday. All the usual places, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. I shall be tweeting as well a little bit, There's been quite a lot of noise with HRT and misreporting in the media over on Twitter. So if you fancy joining in that conversation and lending your support, you'd be super welcome, because as I've said before, Twitter is often not a very safe space, particularly for lone females. But yeah, there's strength in numbers, isn't there? So do take a look over there if you'd like to get involved with that conversation. Sending everybody lots of love. Stay well, stay safe. I hope to see you very soon. Bye-bye.